Welcome to Intentionally Waiting, Season 2, Episode 2. What am I going to be talking about today? Well, it's been an eventful week, I have to say. I think that I'm going to kind of carry on from last week and just digging a little bit deeper, because I've been having lots of questions in relation to opening up your palm and just letting people come and go. And the most common question was that, well, does that apply to everybody? And what if you get people that are coming that you just really don't actually want in your life, kind of stuff? And should you always be wide open and vulnerable to everybody that comes your way? So that was actually also a thought process that I had, and I was wondering how I was going to navigate through what I believe God had told me to do, i.e., I need to be constant and allow people to come, and people will come and people will go, but the right one will stay. So I was having a hard time figuring out how I was going to do that, because I know what I'm like, and I know it's very easy for me to go like that, and it's also very easy for me to go like that. So, and I must admit, there's quite a few people coming, so all for different reasons. I have to add for different reasons, but I've got to be constant with everybody. So what I believe and what I'm working on is two things, and I think that for me, the number one thing that is key is knowing your boundaries and setting your boundaries so that your boundaries are the same and consistent across the board. So it doesn't matter who comes in, the boundaries are the same. And then secondly, which is uber important, is to pray. So, and praying is really about, seeking God's face and asking Him to ensure that, only the right people stay, and people that are not supposed to be in your life leave your life very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into two sessions, because I'm working on both at the same time. So this week I'm going to focus on the setting of the boundaries, and next week I'm going to focus on prayer. So it's that simple. I've already got a topic for next week, so I don't need to think about it. Not that I think about it that much anyway, it just comes to me. So anyway, but it's going to be just too long to do in one session, so I decided I'm going to do it over two. So, setting boundaries. Now, the way I've gone about it is figuring out what will be my boundaries in terms of the intention phase. So, we go from attraction to intention to commitment to engagement to marriage. So, I believe that in all the different stages, there needs to be boundaries, and the first stage that I ended up getting into was almost really like nobody can come in to your life until you're at the point where your focus, my focus was totally on God. So I had to scrap all the thoughts that I had before, scrap all the ideas and the manner and the ways in which I would have normally done it, and focus number one on God. And I feel like that is kind of like the first stage, coming into alignment so that the things like the purpose for your life, your direction, all of those things, because whoever's going to come into your life is going to come in and complement it, just as you're going to complement their purpose, their direction, and everything that goes with it. But then the next phase is being able to set your boundaries, and in between that, you need to understand what you're attracted to. And I think that part of going through the attraction phase initially is knowing that actually for me, for me, it was really about the things of God. I really am attracted to the things of God. Yes, I'm attracted to the way somebody looks. I'm attracted to I'm attracted to how they carry themselves, their humility, all of those kind of things. I'm attracted to that. But ultimately, I want to be first and foremost attracted to their love for God. So essentially, that becomes my starting point. So when I am setting my boundaries, I'm looking at boundaries from different angles. So it's not just a case of, does the person look good? So, and if the person doesn't look good, I'm not going to allow him into my boundary. Or when he comes, I'm going to close up because I'm like, I don't really fancy you physically. And at the same time, it's not also the case of, yes, because you worship God and you love God, that automatically you go to the you go to the the fast track route. It's not like that. It's really about being constant, setting your boundaries, and when people that fit certain criteria come to you, and to be fair, only the people that fit what you've been seeking for in a way will come, because that's what you're attracting. And that's why it's important for you to be right with yourself. That's why it's so important for you to go through the work and know that you're enough. Go through the work and love yourself. Go through the work and treat yourself like you should be treated. It's so important, because if you don't, the kind of people that are going to be coming to you are the kind of people that you probably don't want in your life. So when you have set yourself right, which is kind of all the work that I was doing last year, loving myself. If you haven't seen any of the season 1 episodes, go and watch them, because then you'll understand what I'm talking about now. So all of that was, it took a whole season for me to get to that point. So it's not an easy process to go through. But once you're there, what you will find is the type of people that are going to start coming your way is the type of people that are meeting you at the level that you're at. So, yeah. And so therefore, it's okay for you to open your hands, because you're not going to get, you're not going to get a lazy person coming in if you're not lazy. You're not going to get a person with no integrity if you have integrity. Those things are not going to happen, because you're not going to be attracted to those things. So what will start to come your way, which is really a good indication of where you are, is, the type of things that you truly demonstrate. So you'll start to meet, so for me, being a Christian, I'd start to meet other Christians. The kind of things that I like to do, I start to meet people in those areas. The kind of, the kind of intellect that I am at, I start to meet people with that same intellect, or seeking that type of intellect. So the people that are coming are generally the kind of people that you will relate to. So, but what you need to be able to do is not jump the boat. And in the past, I've jumped the boat, because I've jumped the boat, I'm like, well, which one of you is really good looking? I'll pick you. Or which one of you is really into your business or something like that? I'll pick you. So, but now I've learned that actually that kind of doesn't work, because it might work for a season, but it doesn't work forever. And I'm not looking for a season person, I'm looking for a forever person. So that being said, when you are setting your boundaries, or when I've been setting my boundaries, and and I'm hoping that this is going to help somebody set their own boundaries. So if you're thinking, I have no clue as to what a boundary is or how a boundary should be, I would say, first of all, start small. So, the kind of things that you would allow anybody to access in terms of your life would be your starting point. So for instance, for me, it will be, I've got no problems going for coffee with somebody. I've got no problem speaking to the phone with someone, chatting with them on WhatsApp, but I do have an issue if it goes after a certain time of night. So I'm not going to be contacting somebody after, say, 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening. And if somebody does contact me at that point in time, then I'm literally not going to respond till the next day, because I've set my boundaries on that phase. Now, it may well be that as you go through the different phases, and it is the case that you have different boundaries. So when you're committed to somebody, then yes, that person can contact you after 9 o'clock because you're committed to that person. Yes, that person can come to your home, that person you can have dinner with, those sort of things, but you might not have as an option in the first stage. So when you're looking at intention, because intention is really about observing, because you're observing the other party, you're observing what they do, you're observing how they respond, you're observing how they contact you, you're really observing, like, is this person actually serious? Is this person just being friendly? Is this person in your life just so that you can help them? Because people will come into your life for all different reasons. And the funny thing is that when it's somebody of the same sex, you're perfectly okay. You're like, yeah, you can come into my home, you can like drive my car, I can give you a lift, you've got no problems. But when it becomes somebody of the opposite sex, you start to make assumptions. And really, we shouldn't make assumptions. Just because they're the opposite sex doesn't mean that, you know, they want to climb into bed with you or they want to have a relationship with you. It may just be that they want to be your friend, they like you, they're connected with you. It might be that God has brought them into your pathway to help you or you to help them. And that's why it's important that you have a common boundary at this stage. And then because what you don't want to do is go over the boundary and then realise that actually this person wasn't for me. And then you're going to feel really bad because you're thinking, well, either the person used you or you felt, you know, you now feel vulnerable around them, you now feel like you can't really talk to them, and then you lose a person that could have actually been a really good friend. So you start off small, and then what you now start to look at is, if you're going to afford somebody something, ask yourself the question, would you do it for everybody at this stage? Because if the answer to that question is no, then you know that you're leaning towards a person and that's not right and you're not being constant. So if you have that, then you know that that is not something that you should be doing at this stage in terms of this particular boundary that we're setting, which is the intention stage. So therefore, you need to pull back away. Write it down somewhere because it may fit another phase, but it's definitely not for this phase. The other thing is, if you are almost preventing people from certain things. So for instance, somebody comes to you and you know, they give you their phone number and they say, oh, you know, it'd be nice for us to catch up. And you're looking at them thinking, I'm not really attracted to you, so I'm not going to call them. Now that means you're actually closing your hand, you're saying no, just because you've gone on the basis of, I'm not physically attracted to you. But you just don't know whether there's going to be other levels of attraction. So you could be academically attracted to them. You could be, I don't know, like, it could be the fact that, you know, the connections that you have, the things that you do, the social activities that they do, that, you know, that connect you, and you become attracted to that. But by just closing them off at the first goalpost because you can't see a physical connection at that point, then you may be closing yourself off. And this is what I got to say this to myself constantly, because I am so good at doing this, so good at doing this. Actually, and that, no, not this, that. I'm so good at doing that, like, you know, dropping people. I'm so good at doing that. But not anymore, because I'm now looking at it from a different perspective. So that becomes really important for you to be able to set your boundaries and set it fairly, because that will allow you to be like that constantly. And it then means that whoever comes, they get the same treatment. And then it becomes a fair ground for people that want to just come in for a season and then leave your life, or people that are going to come and remain, and people that just come in for a day and they're out. Then it becomes very fair. But obviously, as I said before, that's not enough. For me, it's not enough because, again, what I don't want is for people to linger in my life when they're not meant to be in my life. And sometimes it could be the case that I've let somebody in my life that really shouldn't be in my life, and I can't get them out. So there we've got to balance it up with prayer. So as I said before, next week we're going to be talking about prayer, and I'll take you through how I am doing my prayer in relation to that and what type of prayers I'm doing and how I connecting with that so that I can actually understand what God's saying to me and just trust in the process, because this is a process, and if you don't trust it, then you shouldn't do it. But I trust the process, so I'm in the process, and so now my boundaries have been set, which is great. And yeah, I'm just looking and watching how the whole thing unravels. So so I hope that has helped somebody this week. Yeah, it's been an exciting week for me, and actually, we started February, so we're into February now, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to what the rest of this month is going to show, and also the rest of the year. So it should be good, it should be fun. So that's it, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to show up again for you next week, and I'm trying to make my podcast as as tight as possible, so I don't waffle too much, and also because I know that everyone's busy, and as much as you'd love to hear my voice all day long, sometimes you've just got other things to do. So I'm going to end today again with a prayer, because I said I have got my journal, and my journal is now my prayer book, and I write prayers in, and I've set a prayer for today, and I'm going to read that for you before I go. So, today's prayer. Dear God, today I'm working on setting boundaries, both for myself and for the people coming into my life. I pray you give me the strength and humility to treat everyone as equals, irrespective of how I may perceive them to be. May you protect me from any devious actions or thoughts towards me, so I may walk the path set before me without fear. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast today, for watching me, for showing up, because I'm showing up for myself and for you, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.